Ever feel like the sci-fi you're reading just isn't thinking big enough? Sure, future tech and Mars colonies are cool, but what about stories that push way past the next 100,000 or even million years? What happens when humanity isn't just exploring space, but outliving stars, bending time, and casually watching entire civilizations rise and fall like bad stock investments? That's exactly what we're diving into today. 5 far future sci-fi books that take long-term thinking to the extreme. So let's dive into some of the wildest, most ambitious visions of the far, far future that sci-fi has to offer. First up, The Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. Alright, picture Earth millions of years in the future. The sun's barely sputtering along, technology is so ancient and forgotten that it might as well be magic, and humanity is just kind of muddling through in a strange medieval techno-hybrid society. And in the middle of it all, a guy named Severian, who happens to be a professional torturer. But don't worry, he's a nice torturer. Well, nice as someone in his profession can be. Severian's big problem? He's got a soft spot for mercy, which as you can imagine isn't great for career advancement in the pain business. After one misplaced act of kindness, he's wandering the land, tasked with becoming the new executioner of a distant city. Along the way, he gets tangled up in cryptic prophecies, bizarre encounters, lost technologies that nobody really understands anymore, and a mysterious artifact, an object that seems to bend fate itself. Published in 4 volumes, The Book of the New Sun is like being handed a beautifully written riddle where every sentence feels like it has a hidden meaning. It's deep, poetic, and occasionally makes you feel like you're missing something, but in a way that keeps you hooked. If you like sci-fi that makes your brain work overtime while also feeling like you're reading an ancient myth, this one is a must-read. So we've had a dying Earth, a fading sun, and a torturer wandering through a world that feels like it fell out of a fever dream. But what if instead of looking back to a decayed future, we pushed forward, way forward into a time where humanity isn't just stuck on one dying planet, but messing around with entire alternate realities? Well, that's where Eternity comes in. If Eon blew your mind, Eternity is here to finish the job. The sequel, published in 1988, picks up with humanity still tinkering around with the Way, a massive asteroid that's far more than just a rock in space. Inside is a passage to pocket universes, alternate timelines, and reality-breaking weirdness. Naturally, humans do what they do best: explore, argue over control, and trigger consequences they barely understand. The result? A journey into deep time, where galaxies shift, civilizations rise and fall, and humanity's very existence hangs in the balance. This time, the stakes are even bigger. We're talking multiversal conflicts, enigmatic alien intelligences with unknown motives, and an impending catastrophe that makes all previous disasters look like a minor speed bump. The characters, including scientists, politicians, and explorers, aren't just trying to save Earth. They're questioning whether humanity even has a future, and if it does, what form that future should take. Along the way, expect some serious philosophical brain bending. Greg Bear was a master at blending hard sci-fi with emotional depth, so while you're grappling in the mind-blowing scope of time and space, you're also deeply invested in the fates of the people caught up in it. Okay, so Eternity gave us a future where humans are out exploring multiverses and alternate timelines is just another Tuesday. But what if we didn't need physical bodies anymore? What if we could just upload ourselves into a digital existence and live forever in a reality of our own making? Sounds cool, right? Well, Permutation City is here to show you just how weird and terrifying that idea can get. What if reality was just a suggestion? What if you could upload your consciousness into a simulation, rewrite the rules, and keep existing forever, even after the universe itself dies? Welcome to Permutation City, a 1994 novel by Greg Egan that takes your brain, puts it in a blender, and hits puree. Set in the mid to late 21st century and extending into mind-bending realms beyond conventional time, this novel explores a future where humanity has mastered digital consciousness. People can create copies, virtual versions of themselves that exist in computer simulations. Some use it as a backup plan, others abandon their biological bodies entirely, and then there's Paul Durham, a man who believes he can make these simulations last literally forever, not by extending their runtime, but by proving that reality itself is just an emergent property of a computation. But here's the kicker. What happens when a virtual world isn't just a copy of reality, but something stranger? What if it's more real than the physical universe? What if existence isn't tied to physics at all, but to patterns of computation that don't even need a computer to run? Egan isn't here to hold your hand. This book throws around mind-melting ideas about physics, consciousness, and the nature of reality like the casual dinner conversation. You'll get quantum mechanics, simulated minds questioning their own existence, and a deep dive into the unsettling possibility that the universe itself is just another program waiting to be rewritten. If you like your sci-fi with maximum existential crisis and minimal spoon-feeding, Permutation City is essential. So we've gone from exploring the deep time mysteries of the cosmos to questioning reality itself inside digital simulations. But let's say you still like the idea of good old-fashioned space travel, just, on a scale that spans millions of years instead of centuries. That's exactly what House of Suns delivers. Ever wondered what it would be like to live for millions of years, casually cruising around the galaxy while civilizations rise, fall, and turn to dust? Welcome to the 2008 novel House of Suns, where time isn't measured in centuries, it's measured in epochs. Set 6 million years into the future, this novel follows the Gentian line, a group of immortal clones, or shatterlings, created by a woman named Abigail Gentian. Their mission? To travel the galaxy, gather knowledge, and meet up every now and then for a grand reunion to share what they've learned. It's an existence built on patience and perspective, until someone starts hunting them down across the stars. Suddenly two of the clones, Campion and Purslane, find themselves at the centre of a mystery that could unravel everything they thought they knew about the universe. Reynolds is a master of vast, mind-expanding sci-fi, and House of Suns is packed with grand cosmic ideas, time dilation, space travel, long extinct alien civilizations, and events so large-scale that entire empires collapse in the time it takes the characters to wake from a spaceflight nap. If you love massive space opera with a side of existential awe, House of Suns is an absolute must-read. Before I reveal the last book on this list, here are a couple of far future honourable mentions. First, The City and the Stars by Arthur C. Clarke, published in 1956. Fast forward a few billion years, and humanity is reduced to a single major city, Diaspora, sealed off from the rest of the barren earth. Or at least, that's what its citizens believe. Clarke asks, what if your entire world was an illusion, and you were the first person to question it? Enter Alvin, the only person in a millennia to feel restless, an anomaly in a society that has become stagnant and self-contained. His curiosity leads him to uncover hidden truths, lost histories, and even the possibility that humanity's fate isn't as hopeless as it seems. This is Clarke at his best: big ideas, epic scale, and a signature sense of wonder that sci-fi is supposed to have. Next up, The Nightland by William Hope Hodgson, published in 1912. If you thought the Book of the New Sun was bleak, try Total Darkness. In this unfathomably distant future, the sun has gone out, and the last remnants of humanity huddle inside the Great Redoubt, a vast fortress city powered by mysterious energies. Outside the eternal blackness, monstrous, unknowable entities watch and wait, some indifferent, some hostile, all utterly alien. The Nightland is one of the strangest, most haunting sci-fi horror novels ever written, blending cosmic horror, surreal adventure, and gothic romance to a single nightmarish vision. Imagine a dystopian dreamscape where humanity's last survivors are besieged by unseen horrors, and you'll have some idea of what you're in for. Then there's Death's End by Liu Cixin, published in 2016. If you thought The Three-Body Problem and The Dark Forest were ambitious, Death's End takes things to a whole new level, literally spanning billions of years. What starts as a continuation of humanity's struggle with the terrifying realities of the universe escalates into deep time existential horror, with intelligence trying to outlive entropy itself. This one doesn't just imagine the far future, it takes us all the way to the last flickers of existence at the end of time. If that sounds like a light read, well, you're wrong. Okay, so we've seen civilizations rise and fall across millions of years, but what happens when the universe itself starts running out of gas? Like trillions of years into the future, when even stars are calling it quits. The world at the end of time takes us on a ride to the actual end of everything, where survival is about outrunning entropy itself. Ever wake up from a long nap and feel like you missed something important? Now imagine that when you wake up, the universe is on its last legs. That's pretty much the setup for The World at the End of Time by Frederick Pohl, published in 1990, where time isn't just deep, it's practically bottomless. This story follows Victor, a human colonist from the 21st century sent on a deep space mission. Unfortunately, things don't go as planned. He's placed into suspended animation, wakes up an unimaginably span of time later, only to find that everything he once knew is ancient history. Meanwhile, far across the universe, an ancient alien intelligence named 1-2 is manipulating stars and waging interstellar war against rival entities, all in a desperate bid to outlast the slow death of the cosmos. As entropy creeps in and the universe begins to wind down, the lives of these two beings, one human, one alien, begin to mirror each other in unexpected ways. 1-2 seeks immortality through cosmic scale engineering, while Victor struggles to find meaning in a world where even time itself has left him behind. This is big sci-fi, the kind that makes you feel tiny. Pohl balances the grand scale of astrophysics and entropy with deeply personal stakes, forcing the reader to contemplate the nature of survival when the universe itself is dying. That was your 5 mind-bending, time-stretching, existential crisis-inducing sci-fi books that take the future and crank it up to absurd. These are the books that will make you sit back and go, wow, I'm tiny. Got a favourite far future sci-fi novel I missed? Drop it in the comments. I'm always on the lookout for more reality-destroying reads. And if you enjoyed this list, why not check out the next video on 5 first contact sci-fi books you need to read. Thanks so much for watching. If you're craving an extraordinary journey through realms unexplored, consider delving into universes directly out of my brain by checking out my sci-fi novels Black Milk and Delphine Descends. You can find more details in the description. Thanks for your support.